We're not just trying to find the people who are lost, but the lost voices, the lost stories, and the lost hope of their loved ones as well.
The two boys that were in the vehicle and their parents that helped cover up the vehicle are all guilty.
We want the families to know that people still give a damn.
I saw my father put his hands around her neck, and then he carried her out of my sight.
Our name is also our mission. We are locating the lost.
I've accepted my brother's death. I can still talk to him. We just don't see him physically. And I know I'm a believer that I'm going to see him again one day.
Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and most podcast platforms.
And we are live. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight, watching us live, and everyone watching us back as we're recording. We appreciate it very much.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Tonight, we're joined by the family of Cameron Sequeira, who disappeared June 26, 2010 from Forest Lakes, Arizona. And I think I just butchered that last name again. Is it Sequeira?
Sequeira.
Sequeira, okay.
Right.
So this is Frank. Frank's the dad. Doreen's the mom. And then Sabrina is his daughter. So thank you guys for joining us.
Yes, thank you very much.
So if you guys wouldn't mind, if someone could begin, just talk about Cameron growing up, what he was into, his interests and all that.
Want to do that? Want me to do it?
Yeah, he started real young with soccer. He started playing soccer when he was like 6 years old. And he kept playing soccer until high school. But then the problems of his height, him being pretty short, and only having one eye, it got to where he wasn't as fast as the rest of the kids, but he was as good.
Well, if I can back up just a second. He was born premature. He was 2 pounds, 10 ounces when he was born. So he was quite the little guy when he was born, and he spent a good 3 to 4 months in the hospital when he was born. So his prematurity did add to some of the sports that he loved to play, along with baseball collecting and things of that nature. So I just wanted to emphasize that he had scoliosis. He was born with scoliosis and with one right eye that was missing.
Oh, wow.
But he's a tough little guy. Nothing stops him.
Oh, in fact, a lot of people didn't realize he didn't have an eye there until one day we came from the doctors and there was a patch there because he got an infection.
A little, yeah. He wore a patch.
And the lady comes up and goes, how is he going to score goals with a patch over that eye? A lot of the people didn't realize he played so good, they didn't realize he was born with a lot of handicaps.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even look at the pictures. I didn't realize he didn't have an eye there. I thought there was an eye there.
He's pretty funny. By the time he was in 7th or 8th grade, he was taking out his prosthesis, and for $1 telling the kids, I have my name in my eye. And kids would go, no, you don't, no, you don't. And he'd go, oh, yes, I do. He goes, for $1, I'll show you. And he would take out his prosthesis, and there was his name,
one day
Cameron.
He came home from school and had a pocket full of $1 bills.
I
thought he was selling drugs. He told me no. He goes, for $1 a piece, he takes his eye out and puts it back in.
Jeez.
How tall was Cameron?
4'10" when he disappeared.
Yeah.
4'10", 4'11". He always said 4'11".
I mean, it looks like it didn't stop him though. He's playing football here.
Oh yeah. No, he was good. He was on the wrestling team. He played football.
He was so much smaller, he could be faster.
BMX bicycle champion for his age.
Wow.
Yeah, he did really good at all that. He loved to collect baseball cards. That's the only reason how he learned to read was reading baseball cards.
Surfed, apparently.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's actually in Phoenix, Arizona during a monsoon.
Really?
We bought a house in Phoenix.
Oh, that
and,
picture in the middle.
yeah, we missed the California Bay
Cam?
Area, so we still have the surfboards. And the monsoon came, and he got out there with his surfboard,
We
surfing the monsoon.
drag them down the street on their surfboards.
Yeah, he's probably one of the first people to ever surf in Arizona, I'm guessing.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably.
Exactly. People did look at us like we were kind of crazy, but hey, you gotta live life once. Yeah, he had fun.
Yeah.
The middle picture is Cam. The middle picture is Cam with Sabrina,
Off the left. No, yeah.
with his daughter. The middle picture.
That was the last picture ever taken of him, right there holding Sabrina. She was 2.
Oh, wow.
So let's talk about what was life growing up, maybe his teenage years into his adulthood. If you can talk about that a little bit. Did Cameron have a job?
Well, his job was, I had a Volkswagen repair shop for 43 years. So he worked with me on motorcycles, Volkswagens, weed eaters, chainsaws. We fixed it all. Our ad in the Yellow Page ad said we don't say no to anything. And even though he had a lot of handicaps, he got really good at being a mechanic.
Yeah,
I could tell him when he was like 12, 13 years old, I could tell him, go out, take that motor out of that car, tear it down and let me know what's wrong with it, and he'd do it.
Wow.
The diagnose, take it apart and put it back together by himself. He loved it. It was a good job for him.
This looks like he's in your mechanic's outfit here, right, Frank?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he lived up in the mountains where the shop was, up in the mountains where
Like
he
Forest Lake.
disappeared. He lived in a trailer, like a 30-foot travel trailer behind the shop. So he didn't have to worry about a place to live. He had one behind the shop. And like I say, there was a few times he went and worked at Taco Bell.
Down in Phoenix.
So basically he did a lot of mechanic work though, right?
Oh yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
And then if you can talk about Sabrina's mom, how they met, talk about their relationship.
I'll take over there. Basically, when we lived up in Forest Lakes, there's a town down below called Payson, and he was coming back from Walmart or something one day, and he stopped because there was a girl actually in a gutter. Picked her up and took her over the mountain, brought her home. She was in dire need of food, clothing, everything, and he asked me and Frank, can we help her? We could tell she was on drugs. Frank said immediately, no, we're not bringing no drugs into this house. No way.
I immediately said no.
Take her back where you found her.
No way. I don't like her. I can't stand the lady.
Me, on the other hand, with the soft heart, said, no, we need to help her. And Cam needed to help her. So it was 2 votes against his. So she ended up staying with us while we monitored her and kept her as best as we could away from the drugs, and put clothes on her back and gave her a place to stay.
She was a tweaker.
We didn't know at the time, what we found out later, years later. That was always consistent. But, there was a good try here. But she did give us this beautiful child here.
Yeah, my granddaughter was born on my birthday.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah. So that's pretty good.
So even though things may have not turned out as picture perfect as most people would like, very thankful for her and grateful. I don't think she would have been here. He hadn't have brought her home. So
right, we don't. If we did not appear and take her and bring her home, I have no idea where she would be today.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was nobody but us.
But that's all good. It all works out to the best. I mean, Kelly went with us to the courts, and Judge Slayton, Kelly realized at the time that she couldn't care for Sabrina. And that was one of the good things that Kelly did, was that she told Judge Slayton, here, I'm not able to keep this child.
She stood up in front of the judge and goes, Judge, I could make this in pretty quick. She goes, I give my daughter to them. They'll raise her. They'll give her a living. So
you got to give Kelly kudos for that.
We took her.
That was a smart move, because to have lived in that kind of lifestyle would not be a good lifestyle. Any of the kids up there are all suffered.
So Sabrina, do you still have a relationship with your mom at all?
Not really. I was in contact with her for a little while, but I guess she got a new Facebook and never contacted me from it then.
We didn't hear from her from the day we took her until her 13th birthday. We never heard from her mother. She was 13 years old before we heard from her mother.
I did try I tried to fly her down to Oregon to see Sabrina one time before she actually became ours. And that was about the last time she ever saw her. But I always tried to keep it open, between the two of them, because I would never take a child away from its mother, no matter how bad the mother is.
Well, the judge told her, if you ever want to see your daughter, you have to come through the courts and get permission to do it.
There were for a few times she'd call on the phone and would, you'd say hi and things of that nature. She's had a busy life. She's had many other friends in her life and other children. So
she's had like three more kids, and she don't have any of them.
All right. So, Sabrina, how old were you when your dad disappeared?
I was 2.
You were 2. Do you have any memories of your dad?
No, but I've heard a lot of stories about how he treated me and like how much he loved me and stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, that's why people say, well, maybe he just up and left. No, he could not have up and left his daughter. That was his pride and joy.
The day she was born, he just cried for hours. The tears in his face, that he wouldn't let go of her to put her back in the nursery.
They lived with us most of the time after she was born.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
so let's talk about Cameron's disappearance. What the leading up to that was anything odd or unusual or off with him, like the days leading up to his disappearance?
Nothing really. No. All that we know is we both got a call. We were already here living in Oregon, and got a call from Kelly stating that Cam was supposed to call her at 5:30, and she was in rehab in Sholo. And
that was on a Friday.
And I'm not giving a dime. And he was supposed to call her at 5:30. And it was like 5:45, and she'd already called us crying and screaming, "Oh my God, something's happened to Cameron. Something's happened to Cameron." And I go, "What do you mean? He's missing. I just know he's missing. He's supposed to call me at 5:30. And I said, "Wait a minute. It's only 15 minutes after 5:30. Why are you panicking now?" And she just said, "I just know. I just have that feeling there's something wrong with him. There's something wrong with him." So calmed her down. She ended up calling back and talking with him. And we really didn't take it as being serious. So Cam went fishing. Cam, walked his dog, whatever.
That was no biggie.
But she continued oh my God, something's wrong. And then the next day, she had contacted the police and made a report that he was missing.
But she was in rehab still.
Yeah. So
that's weird. Like, he's a half hour late calling her.
Yeah.
Cam called. See, we thought, well, maybe he disappeared on that Friday evening. That's why she was setting it up, saying, well, he was supposed to call me and he didn't call. Oh, where is he thing. The next day, Doreen's mother-in-law, that's what you call her, right?
Right.
Mother-in-law, Cam called there, which was in Southern California, and left a message on their phone that he needed some money, that he needed to move his trailer. that was the last anybody ever heard of him.
So he knows he was in existence still on that Saturday. So by her saying that he was already missing that early Friday, kind of jumped the gun, you know.
Yeah,
we don't understand it. Still don't understand it.
Unless, I mean, speculation would be that she's involved with something and she thought that was going to take place the day before.
Exactly. Well, Cameron took off. Apparently, that evening, that Friday evening, he went to go walk his dog. He apparently took off. And I don't think he could have been found. I think maybe he knew something was happening and he took his dog and left to protect himself. And then earlier that next day, perhaps he was found.
And then
but see, there was great grandma that had the property where all this took place on.
Every night, Cameron would take the baby from his trailer and bring it into the main cabin, the main house. It was clockwork. Every night, he would take her in there to sleep more comfortably in her crib in that bedroom.
And he'd go take his dog for a walk.
And that's what he did. That night, he took her to the main house, went to take, according to the people who lived there, then took Zero for a walk, and the dog came back that Monday, but he never did.
Yeah.
Lisa Kennedy's asking a question here. Said, so they do not know who the man is with the infant that fled the same area? Do you want to touch upon that real quick?
Sure.
Ryan Patrick Hall.
This guy lived on the same property as the cabin and the trailer. There were two trailers and the main cabin on the property. And Ryan lived in a small travel trailer. And Cameron and him are the only two that had the major friction. They had a lot of
Ryan was a very well-known tweaker, and Cam was worried about the place being raided, and they take everybody and sort things out later.
Cam did not do any method.
Cam was very much against meth. He hated tweakers.
And that caused rifles between his girlfriend too, because she was also meth. So it was hard.
This guy Ryan, I mean, he even went on you'll like this one. 2 days after Cam disappeared, he went on a ride-along with the county sheriffs, and this is all noted, documented, and everything, and pointed out a bunch of tweaker houses, meth homes, meth houses.
To put it in perspective, Cameron went missing. 2 days later, Ryan pointed out drug houses with the Navajo County Sheriff's Department. Then he got in his car, took his baby away from the mother, that the mother didn't even know the 3-month-old child was going to be taken early one morning, put into a car that had no insurance, no registration. He had no driver's license, drove the back roads from Forest Lakes, Arizona, broke down his truck. His truck broke down in Young, Arizona. And that's the back road to get to Sky Harbor Airport. From Sky Harbor Airport.
He didn't go the main drag, the main road
he took the back roads.
From up on the mountains to the Sky Harbor Airport.
He had flat tires in Young, Arizona, then hitchhiked from there with a small baby to Sky Harbor Airport, where there's documentation. He took he bought a one-way ticket with the child to Florida. And according to the police interviews, they asked him, why did you go to Florida? He said to go visit his father. And when they asked to contact his father, he said, well, I don't know where my father lives there. So basically, that was not an alibi.
He lied. He lied about, he was running and he ran to Florida.
They did they confiscated his truck in Young, and they took it to the forensics yard where they went over it with a fine-tooth comb and found nothing.
No, I never.
She wants me. But, yeah, we have the full interview. They only did one, as far as we know, one phone interview with Ryan, and then he lawyered up.
They never did. You know how they police always say they want to do a eye-to-eye interview. Get
Right.
that body language.
Apparently that never happened.
You know, they never even did a face-to-face
That
interview
we
with
know
him.
of. That we know of. They
They
don't share
did
everything.
they did a thing over the phone for like a 20-minute thing over the phone, and that was it. That's it.
So it sounds like you guys saying that your assumption is that he was a narc for the sheriff's department.
We
and
don't know.
Maybe that's why
We
they didn't.
It's possible.
him.
I mean,
We are assuming that is a very good possibility.
that I thought, okay, what are the reasons somebody would do that? Another reason was that if he did harm Cameron and he was in a meth-induced state, he'd already had killed a dog in front of his own family, his child. He had picked up a puppy and shot the dog right in front of his own family.
This
He had
maniac
Jesus.
got his whole family
calm down.
all together, brought the little puppy up,
Just said that.
brought the gun out, and blew its brains out.
It's documented in the police report. When I was told, when I asked what kind of a record he had, I was told he only had a few minor traffic citations. I find out later that he was a felon who had escaped from prison. So I was told quite the difference.
He was a habitual. I was told by the police department he was a habitual criminal.
But back to the point I was trying to make is that the other reason why he would point out drug houses of that nature is perhaps if it was the meth and he was induced and became angry and harmed my son, that maybe there was guilt.
Right.
Maybe there was a guilt.
I feel I really think that this guy, what I think he was burying this dog that he shot. And I think Cam confronted him about it, and I think Cam got beat to death with a shovel.
Because see, there was another dog. We're
why do
talking
you say
two different dogs. Two different dogs. The first dog was a different incident. But the same night that Cameron went missing, another dog on that property went missing. And one of the relatives has made a statement that they think it's because Cameron witnessed him harming the other dog. My son was an animal lover.
Oh yeah, you could look at Cam. Cam would be in bed with his girlfriend, the dog.
Turn around. Come back.
He'd have his arm around his dog.
There's different. Yeah.
I do have a question here. So Joseph Sargent asked, I've heard Kelly was married at the time she met Cameron. Is that true? And did that
Absolutely.
cause any issues?
No, not that we're aware of. He was already gone. This other boy that she was married to had left and had gone to San Diego. And I helped her get a divorce.
They got the divorce.
We put the ad in the newspaper and got that totally divorced. And as far as I know, they never saw each other again until you're not going to believe this, until all these years later when her first husband moves in next door to me.
Really? Did
Yeah.
you know you guys lived there?
No, I just happened to see they gave me a car, and I was cleaning out the car, and on the registration of the car, I recognized the name, and I went, "Oh my God!" So I knocked on the door and I asked her. I said, "Is that?" She goes, "Yeah, he was married to Kelly up there by Forest Lakes." I went, "Oh my, no way! What a small world! That had to happen for a reason."
That is weird.
Yeah, never could figure that one out. When I told the detective working on the case at that time, he didn't believe me, and I said, "I have no reason to lie." I mean,
there have been.
It was amazing.
There's probably been 50. What do they call them? What you just call detectives working on this case
not
so
50,
far.
but there's been a lot, of course. There's
been a lot.
So, as far as you guys know, he took his dog for a walk,
right?
And then never came back. You
Right.
know the dog came back though, right?
Came back on that following Monday.
That's what they're saying. Nobody saw the dog, but that's what we're told.
The dog was never seen again. When we went down there several days later after we heard the official report, Zero was not on the property at that time.
Yeah, Zero was nowhere to be had.
We only have Kelly's story that the dog came back.
And she said she gave it to some Mormon family.
Oh.
I would have taken the dog and she would have known that. So,
yeah.
So
Kelly
that's
knows,
weird.
Kelly knows we wanted the dog.
Everything I read about the case, and I listened to that podcast that you guys had done with the Vanished podcast,
Right.
and even on there, she's talking about, the dog came back without a collar or anything.
Right.
There's no mention that the dog was never seen again, though. So only one person
Right.
Right.
saw this dog, and then the
Well,
dog's
there was,
given up.
and there was also the story from Kelly that forensics came in and took the dog and did hair samples of the dog's paws and hair samples, of the dog's teeth and get what the dog was eating and everything. At the time it was gone, I asked everybody and the detectives, all of them, and they said, no, we never examined the dog, not once.
And how soon was it after Cameron disappeared that you guys went to the house and the dog wasn't there? Like within days, right?
Within
the next week.
Yeah, the 3 days. I think it was about 3 days. We had to hurry.
Within 3 days, she gave the dog away.
Yeah, the
dog was there. I don't know. She is the only one, and her grandmother. The grandmother is passed now. And Casey. Well, no, Casey says she doesn't know, but Kelly is the only one that for sure says the dog came back.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Because
there's no real
and
proof.
again, the person that said they say great grandma saw Zero out at the front gate and told somebody to go let him in.
There was gates that closed the property, and that's going back to the dad ring that was found. Not to jump around, no, I shouldn't jump. There we go. That was Cameron's dad ring that was given to him by Kelly when Sabrina was born. He never took it off.
So he wore it all the time, and that ring was found in Ryan's trailer.
On the top of the TV in Ryan's trailer.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he said he said he found it on the driveway. 3
or 4 years later, me and Ryan were talking back and forth, and we would show pictures of our kids together. And I said there was, forensics took pictures of a dad's ring that with Karen's on top of your TV. And that's because the police thought that Kelly may have planted it there. So we could never really prove that he could take ownership to the ring. But we finally did
say he found it in the driveway.
I finally got him to say, yeah, I found the ring in the driveway.
No
now,
way.
where's the ring now? Is that in evidence?
Actually, no. About 2 years ago, Brian Tozier, who's a wonderful, oh God, I love this guy. He's a great detective. He's the one that actually found a set of remains that we'll get into if we have time later. But he got it released so that Sabrina could have it for a Christmas present.
Awesome. So
but she wears it around her neck from time to time. Special occasions like dances and things where he should be, and he's not. She'll wear it.
Yeah.
It's sad. If you want to talk about the remains that were found, because Cameron wasn't seen at all at this point, right? He walked the woods, never seen again.
There were several small sightings. Somebody said she saw him on that Saturday for sure next to the library. To me, it was credible. The way she described seeing Cameron on that Saturday.
Monday.
Was it the Monday?
The Monday.
Yeah,
he
maybe
disappeared on Saturday.
There was one sighting that I thought credible. The police did not. And then that was just brushed off.
I didn't think so either because there were too many people up there that looked like that.
I don't know. But that was really about the only major sighting. And then there was a skull that was found in Coconino in the forest there that we waited to have DNA come back on, and it proved to not be him.
There were 3 other families waiting to hear
that's the first
the decision on a bone, and none of us were. It wasn't none of ours.
What it was is found in Gila County, which is the county next to Coconino County. Brian Tozier, the detective, called surrounding and asked if there were any unidentified body remains or anything. And they said, yes, they'd had some sitting there for about 2 years that were found in Gila County. And so there was a tennis shoe, a femur, and a skull, a partial skull. And we identified that shoe as being Cameron's.
Yeah, you see the picture of that shoe?
Mm-hmm.
That DC skating shoe,
that's Cam's. I still insist that it's
I
Cam's
know.
shoe. People that saw him in Southern California the week before even said yes, he had those shoes. He had those shoes on when he was visiting.
But the remains that came back with that shoe that were found turned not to hit on Cameron and Codis.
But there's no DNA off the shoe.
No, just that it was found with the remains. 3 other families did declare that shoe as well as being their child's or being their relative. And so far as we know, there's been no hit. I go back and forth to Namus from time to time to see, and I publicize that shoe on Facebook because it's somebody's answer. Not ours, but it's somebody's.
So they did rule out Cameron then.
Yes, they have ruled out Cameron to the bones,
Right, yeah.
not the
On
shoe
the
necessarily.
bones, yes, but the shoe, nah.
I'm thinking, Arizona's famous for dump sites. There are multiple bodies in different areas, and if that could be Cameron's shoe, it's because maybe those particular bones were those of somebody else. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That shoe was a popular shoe.
And
yeah, there's the coordinates. As you can see, it's pretty rugged.
Yeah, it looks like it. For someone to be wearing skate shoes way up there seems a little weird too.
It does. It makes me wonder. And Ryan's truck, if you were to draw a straight line from where his truck broke down in Young on his way to Florida to there, it's not far. You would have to.
It was like 60 miles.
But it's a straight shot. You have to take roads that would get you there, which would be 60 miles. But
Right,
he had flat tires.
So as the crow flies.
As the crow flies.
Yeah. I'm sorry?
As the crow flies, how far is it?
About
a straight line.
No, it's not. No. I have forgotten now. I can't be honest to tell you for sure.
The crow flies like 60, but if you're driving, it was a lot more.
No, from Young to there, I pinpointed, this was years and years ago. I've forgotten the actual mileage now, but it was closer than, closer. I thought it was 60.
Well, where his truck broke down to where Cam disappeared.
A straight line. No, we're talking about where the bones were found.
Right, but
I'm not. I can't tell you for sure right now. I don't want to say something.
It's fine. That's fine.
It's fine.
But it's not far.
So
we've
within
heard
a couple
lot
days,
of stuff over the years.
Yeah. So within a couple of days of him going missing, Kelly has given his dog away, right?
Well, we assume that the dog never came back. Yeah.
Right.
You guys must have picked up Sabrina at that point, or did Kelly take Sabrina for a while?
Well, actually,
we had to go to court to get her.
Well, actually, we got a phone call from Madonna Tyree, who worked for the Children's Protective CPS in Flagstaff, saying that they got an anonymous call that Sabrina was in a meth house in a very dangerous situation that we needed to hurry and get there. And we did. That's when we dropped everything at that point and knew finally this was serious because Cam would have never allowed that to happen. And then Donna went and removed Sabrina from this house there and took her back to Flagstaff and placed her in CPS custody until we could get there for her. And that's when the ball started rolling.
Yeah.
We got the court papers signed and done, and actually, we took Kelly with us to the court.
Yeah.
Bought her McDonald's, tried to be sociable with her,
Well, like you said, it's a good thing that she made that decision because she realized that she probably was in no condition to take care of Sabrina. So for Sabrina's sake, it was probably
we're very thankful that she had good head, good thoughts for that. Yep. Very thankful for that.
Sabrina, do you ever think about your dad and wonder where he is?
Yeah, I do a lot. It's kind of hard in a society where you see fathers and daughters. And so, every time I see it, I get, emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine. It's one thing to lose a parent at a young age, but to lose them and not know what happened to them, I can't even begin to imagine what you're going through.
Yeah, it's the not knowing. It's definitely the not knowing whether he suffered, whether he didn't. Is he in a good place? Just all the questions. There's a billion of them every day. There's a new one that comes through the head.
I believe that Cam is not alive.
I have to
He
hope.
could not be gone this long from us if he was alive.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
It's
not
been
possible.
15 years now, right? Or almost 15 years.
It'll be 15, yeah. I mean, there was a part where the freezer, Kelly's family had a freezer inside the home that was full of a cookie substance inside plastic bags. There is indication that perhaps he was in there and disposed of. So they hired a neighbor to remove those cookie bags because the freezer had broke down and stopped working. So we always wondered if maybe he was in there.
That was never checked by the police or anything?
No, that was after the police did interviews of friends and people in the neighborhood. This guy said, "No, I was contacted by Kelly and Kelly's mom to remove these soggy, wet bags of mushy substance," according to the police report. And
He never looked into the bags?
no, he was very suspicious of the bags. He immediately the next day did make a comment to, I guess he did tell a police officer at that time. He told a friend of a police officer, I think, who that friend contacted. And where those bags went and who took them there and did they ever find them again? I don't know.
So, I think you told me that this cake here is something Sabrina does for his birthday or something.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Every
we
year.
still do a birthday cake.
Every year we do birthday cake and candles, and we bring out the pictures and try to remember good memories, although those good memories are unfortunately starting to fade away because of the bad ones. You know.
Yeah. Do you guys have any videos of Cameron that she's able to watch?
Actually, no. You know, we should have somewhere of all the soccer and all that, but maybe they've been lost over time.
I don't know.
No, I don't think
I don't believe we do.
No, we got pictures everywhere around the house of him, but no, I don't think we had any videos.
Then it was VHS video.
I can help you get those converted if you need help with that.
Oh, thank you. I do have a bunch of them. Maybe they are on that. We just have stored them away and forgotten about them. Thank you.
I used to do car shows, Volkswagen shows, and he used to wander around with the video camera and video everything.
All the girls.
All their butts.
Yeah, he liked to be with the girls. He's a typical boy. Good kid. He was a really good person, though. He would do anything for anybody. You know, at school, he would be the one who would always push the kid in the wheelchair. He'd always be the one who opens the door with somebody with a cane. And it was because he was born without the eye that he was very, very sympathetic to others who had problems.
Kara says, "I'm so sorry that your family's left waiting for answers. I saw you post on Missing Persons group and it broke my heart. I tagged Travis in hopes you could come share here." So yes, thank you, Kara, for getting us in touch with them.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you. Every good thought.
Wherever it can get out there, we're hoping that one person's going to see something.
Until the Vanished podcast, I would only once in a while mention something here and there. I didn't have the strength. But, you know, with the Vanished Now You, it helps to actually relieve a lot of that pain that you suffer because you're doing something to become active in hopefully finding out the answers. I have the feeling we won't be here when the answers do come, but at least they will be here for her. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah. Chelsea says, "I think that's really weird that someone would need someone else to dispose of something from the freezer. How long after him missing was the bags removed? And why would it be mushy in the freezer if it was his remains?"
Within a couple of days. We hadn't even gotten there yet. The police do have dates, times, names, and everything of how it went. That police report was just found in the making of this last podcast. That was just uncovered. I had, through the years, gotten police reports and had to request through Freedom of Information Act a lot of police reports. And that one was never in there until just recently. So we really haven't even had time to dig into that one and start paying attention. That one, it was only since October, I think.
Is his case considered?
Wouldn't let us know.
Is his case considered just a missing person, or is it under suspicious conditions? Did they?
Endangered. I think that's what they're calling it.
All the above.
Yeah.
It's hard for them to. They don't necessarily pinpoint, a person of interest. They don't say things like that so much. There's only a few people: Kelly's mother and Ryan. Those are the only two people Cameron had problems with, and it was
Kelly's mom's dead, so we don't got to worry about.
It was all because he didn't want the baby near the drugs. He didn't want Kelly to stop. He didn't want money going to the drugs anymore, and that caused a rift. It caused a big rift between the druggies and him being anti. He liked his marijuana, yeah, but the meth.
No, he wasn't. He was not a go fast person.
He wouldn't have done that. I think that's what caused his demise, is fighting for what was right.
I just want to mention, you had already mentioned this, but the Vanished podcast, I think she does a great job on that.
Marissa's fantastic. So are you, by the way.
Yeah.
You guys are both great.
And she did 2-part series on Cameron's case. So if you guys want to learn more about the case, please take a moment, listen to the Vanished podcast and the two episodes there on Cameron.
Marissa spent
she did a great job.
Months and months on Cameron's case, digging deep into the police files. Every word she says is true. So, there's no hypothetical or making up lies or speculation.
Oh, Kelly has threatened her life. Okay, Kelly has just gone off the wall because Kelly talked. Kelly actually got on there and talked.
Yeah, she was on that podcast. So she threatened Marissa.
And then everybody was against Kelly. Well, good.
But the thing was, she after the podcast was done, Marissa had to put up with a lot of threats, which
too bad.
Didn't need to happen. But Marissa's a good person, and she has a good heart, and she knows how to handle it, and she did. So we're good.
So Jeff and I might get a new follower.
Yeah, definitely. No, she works really hard. I mean, Marissa's really hard. You guys, anybody who is in this field of the lost, the missing, the murdered, unidentified, remains, that's a hard subject. There's nobody wins. I don't even care if you're the podcaster announcing the podcast. You're suffering too. With each and every story, it hurts you. I mean, you can't help it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it can be kind of rough having to, week after week.
But on the other hand, hopefully, you sharing will allow you to feel the same healing that we feel too on the other side of it, because you're looking for answers. You're looking for answers.
Jody says, so sad. My heart goes out to you all.
Thank you, Jody. Thank you. It's hard.
Chelsea says, anyone that lashes out like Kelly has usually some hidden information.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that have not been told. A lot of things. I mean, there's several different other scenarios that have been presented. Cam taking his own life being one of them. One of the simplest ones that I've heard was somebody said, Doreen, is simple. He went to walk the dog. He had the collar, the leash on the dog. He walked by a mountain and the cliffs. The dog jerked, the collar broke, and he fell down. That, everything from simple accidents to being cut into body parts, cut into pieces, and the white supremacist
you guys have heard
group.
That?
Oh yeah, white supremacist group that was involved. Body parts cut, and I've had a good friend come up to me and said, I just did a seance, and for sure your son was cut into little pieces. And
Jesus.
No, you don't know. Yeah, and that good friend is no longer a friend.
I don't imagine.
Maybe she meant to do good, but that was traumatizing. She described each and every piece, and
that's awful.
Yeah, that was a hard one to take. That still causes nightmares sometimes.
I will say, if you have tips, I need to contact the Coconino County Sheriff's Office at 928-774-4523 or 1-800-338-7888.
And Jana White is the new detective who just came on board.
Did you say Vanna White?
Jana, J-A-N-A. I don't think Vanna White.
Vanna with a J.
Yeah, exactly. Now, somebody knows what's going on. We've had tips that people were there when it happened and that people are afraid to talk because they have been threatened. So they know. They're just afraid. They're afraid to come forward. And I don't blame them. I understand. But hopefully one day they will see that the right thing to do is to tell the story.
I'm going to tell them about the pool hall situation with Brian.
I don't have time for that. I think they're ending up.
I got a quick one on Ryan. About 6 months before Cam disappeared, Ryan beat the life out of a man with a pool cue at the pool hall. The man went home and died, and Ryan was never even questioned on the matter.
He died as a result of the injuries, and he
that
wasn't
we know of.
The guy died. Everybody knew the guy. He died.
It is a big question why Ryan wasn't looked into a little more. I'm hoping that they're doing that now. But
I've always wondered, does this guy's family got money or what?
Or was he someone who informed on others?
Informant or not, though, like someone getting away with murder is wild.
And you know what cracks me up though? Cameron missing in Coconino County. They all lived in Coconino, but Ryan went and pointed out the drug houses in the neighboring county, which was Navajo County.
In fact, one of the houses that he informed on was his mother-in-law.
Kelly's mom. Yeah.
Wow.
And the funny thing is that should have been redacted on the police report that I got. That information shouldn't have been public, that he did that he went and didn't. I don't believe that they should have.
Yeah, for his own safety.
Right. And they never redacted that from the police report. It's still in writing there. So I thought, wow, that either got missed or they wanted me to see it. I don't know.
Joseph says the freezer story.
He got caught one time in the local hotel room cooking meth. He was back on the street the next day.
Unreal.
But that's what it is up there, A lot
Joseph, I'm gonna just
it's who you know.
Yeah. Joseph says the freezer story is highly suspicious. I feel for the loss of your family. I don't believe Cameron abandoned any of you. Thank you for sharing Cameron's story.
Thank you for understanding. Thank you for being one of those who knows he would never do that, especially leaving her behind. He would never have done that. She was his life.
Chelsea says, hopefully someone new taking the case, then things will get moving again and answers will come to surface so you and your family can get some relief. Thoughts and prayers go out to you all.
Thank you. We need them all. Someone counting all those prayers.
And we have another one from Sherry saying, I'm so sorry that person said that to you. When you hear the truth, you'll know it. Throw every other word out. I'll be praying.
Thank you. I believe that too. But sometimes when you're hit with 10 different truths, it does take time to sort them all out to get real.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just want to grasp at any story just to get an answer so that you can move on. But it never happened.
Right, because you hear a bunch of different things and you can't help but try and throw that in somewhere to see if a puzzle piece matches somewhere, right?
Exactly.
You can get overwhelmed with a lot of BS.
Yeah. And you go from something very simple to something very chaotic. So it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Hard to say. He's a good person, though. He'll always be remembered and loved.
If you have tips, please contact the Coconino County Sheriff's Office at 928-774-4523 or 1-800-338-7888.
If we have a quick second, I'd like to also mention that one of Cameron's friends named Eric, he, several weeks after Cam went missing, said he went fishing with Cameron. And when asked to take a lie detector test, he refused to take a lie detector test. The detectives actually went all the way down to Phoenix to talk to Eric. Because Eric says, oh no, we went fishing together. He's still alive. But then he stopped cooperating. And there was
why
no
would
more.
he say that?
I don't know. So then, about last July, we get a phone call from Eric saying that he found Cameron in San Francisco. That Cameron was spotted in Tenderloin. There was a video of Cameron in the Tenderloin district in San Francisco. After reviewing this video 1,000 times, we were pretty convinced that it was Cam. We really were. So what do? We jump in our car and we go. We spent 10 days in the most frightening place in the world, and that's the Tenderloin district in San Francisco. It's a beautiful place, but the fentanyl, the second day there, somebody died right in front of us. The Narcan is given out freely. Finally, after putting posters up everywhere, even in not just the Tenderloin, but in the Mission District as well, going to the churches, going to the food halls, going to the clothing centers, going to everywhere we could, we were contacted by so many people that said, yes, I know him. He's got one eye. Yes, he's a really cool dude. His nickname is Shorty. And we thought, that's it, because Cameron's nickname was Shorty. Bingo, we were there. We thought for sure, this is it. We found him. Night after night with the drug lords and the Colombian drug people and fentanyl everywhere and everything going on and SWAT teams. I mean, it was crazy. I get a phone call after my car breaks down that the person we were looking for was not Cameron, that they knew who this person was and that it wasn't Cameron. And a lady whose name was Angel, who sells stuff on the streets there, says it is still Cameron. I know that's Cameron for sure. For sure it's Cameron. We had to leave there after 10 days and come back home, and I get a phone call from Angel about a month later.
Back up a little bit.
I get a phone call from her saying, Cameron's here. I found him, Doreen. I told you I'd find your son. I told you. And I'm like, yay, oh my God, let me talk to him. He says, he didn't want to talk to you. And I went, okay, why? And she goes, he wants us to take pictures of his tattoos and share them with you to identify himself. They took pictures of the tattoos of him, and it's not my son. It was the same guy. It was his doppelganger. It was somebody,
Well, they say every person has a twin. Well, that was Cam's twin.
I mean, it was so close. But why does this guy, Eric, keep saying he sees Cameron and spotting Cameron and is looking for Cameron and this guy, Eric, used to be a good friend of my son's until he slept with Kelly. And then he hated us. And I'm sorry, my phone would ring. Let me get rid of that. He found out Kelly had slept with his best friend, and that caused a lot of problems there. But he went against us, hating us. Eric, all of a sudden, when we were all good friends, now he hates us. He calls me names. He cusses me out. He says we were never there for him, and we're only doing this for publicity. And we went to San Francisco for a vacation, and I don't understand him.
It sounds like he knows more. Like, to just tell you guys that he sees him everywhere and that he's still alive. Like,
yeah,
he wants you to stop looking.
And then he tells me that he no longer talks to Kelly, and yet I have proof that they do. So, the lies just keep coming. But
and Tanya says the same thing. Yeah, this Eric guy seems like he's trying to throw you off the trail.
Yeah.
So we do have to.
There's so many people that seems like they have a lot of information that's just not getting out.
Yeah. It jumps all over the board.
So we do have to wrap this up. But
all right. Thank you guys so much for putting so much effort into this.
Real quick, what do you guys think happened? If you had to guess, and I know Frank, you had said that you thought maybe Ryan did something to him.
I think Cam come upon him burying the dog and got beat to death with a shovel. That has been brought up to us that could have very well happened.
Yeah.
And when we got there that night, standing in the middle of the driveway, just trying to see if I could see any kind of ruckus or anything, and there's shovels and there's hose. I mean, one of those could have been a murder weapon, but, the police, they didn't really look at it that way, so they didn't check stuff like that.
Yeah.
The only other thing is it was the thing. Kelly's mom was heavily involved in it. Ryan was heavily involved in it. They were all friends. And this could have been premeditated just to get Cameron out of the way, because Cameron was going to end up having to call authorities to get it to stop, as long as his daughter was still there. So, he wanted it to stop. He knew names, and he knew people, and he knew places, and he knew things that probably were going on there. And
he knew big time.
And Ryan had owed him a large portion of money for doing a construction job. Cameron did a roofing job for Ryan. Ryan was supposed to pay him $1,100, something to that effect. And then when Cameron went to get his money, Ryan said, tough. No. He said, I need the money for the baby. He said, no, You're not getting it. And that could have caused a
lot of motives.
Brian had ripped Cam off a couple times.
It has to be the Ryan thing, Kelly's mom thing, or a simple accident. But I think a simple accident, he would have been found by now. A simple accident would have been found close to the house, close to the area.
No, it would have been a simple accident. They would have had to dispose of it.
I don't know.
In a simple way.
There was rumors that it was suicide. He had attempted it. That all came out of the mouth of Kelly. So,
I mean, you're going to do suicide. You're just going to go out in the woods somewhere and die and let people find you.
Like, he left behind all of his medications. He left behind his phone. Not his phone. We just found out there were 2 phones. One has not been looked into yet, but will be soon, hopefully.
Good.
It's not too late. But, yeah. I don't know. They're working on it.
Sabrina, if you could talk to the people that might know where your dad is, what would you want to say to them?
I would just say, there's other people in this world that have questions about missing family members, and we want to, lessen that. And so you don't have to give out your name. Just say what happened and give the evidence of what happened.
Yeah.
And there is Silent Witness. There's all kinds of programs out there.
We just want answers at this point. We don't really care who it is. We just want to know what happened.
We don't want to prosecute anybody. It's not about that. It's bringing our son home and laying him to rest so that we can try to move on.
I don't know. I could have blown Brian's brains out quite a few times.
Okay. Well,
and I have told the police that, and the police have told me you can't tell us that, and I said, well, I just did.
No, we can't have that on here either. We don't want to get in trouble. So.
If you do have tips,
it's just wishful thinking. Nothing would ever act on that. We're not that crazy, but yeah.
If you do have tips, please contact the Coconino County Sheriff's Office at 928-774-4523 or 1-800-338-7888. Yeah, guys, we hear that all the time on these, especially the older cases. They just want to bring their family members home. They don't care if anyone is punished for it. They just want to bring their family members home. So hopefully you guys have provided answers to him.
He belongs to his family, not laying in a cold forest someplace, or under the ground or having rocks. No, he belongs to his family till the end.
T says smart kid, so I'm assuming she's talking about Sabrina.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for joining us.
I want to thank everyone for everyone in the audience who is watching and very supportive messages. As always, you guys are killer. We appreciate that.
We really appreciate you bringing his story to light again. Thank you so much for what you do.
Anyone watching, please share this out. It's the only way that people are going to pay attention to stuff like this is if more people share it. So just please keep sharing the stories.
Somebody knows out there. The right person just has to hear it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All
right, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Yes,
all right.
Have a great night, guys. Thank you again very much.
Bye-bye. Thanks, guys.
25-year-old Taylor Williams led investigators to Alabama this week.
So we have some breaking news from Florida. An arrest has been made in connection.
After years of agony, a glimmer of hope for the family.
Investigators spent hours searching through this house off Pennsylvania Avenue.
What could be a major development in the search for missing Alabama teenager.
Tonight, a stunning twist in the search for Taylor.
Somebody out there knows something.
They want to lay him to rest their way, not by somebody else's way.